All right, Nick. Live. Bottom 9. Brent Suter has decided to come in. Graham Ashcraft was warming, for those that are wondering. He was warming, but the Reds decided to score so many runs, they decided to sit Ashcraft down and put Brent Suter in. So, here we go. 7-1. Bottom 9. Nobody out. Nick.
This is going to take about 3 seconds, I have a feeling.
I am trying to really formulate this last post here. I can't remember a time that the Reds have been this close to the end of a game when it's close, and they have just found a way to stack runs on top of each other like that.
There's 2.
Really?
I mean, like
This
Brent
is
Suter,
absurd, dude.
Brent Suter against the Pirates. The Pirates right now is like just a match made in a quick inning.
He's just ready to look at him. He's getting the ball. He's right back on the mound. That was a good play by McLean, by the way. That ball was hit really softly. Kind of that's a weird play to make. Just really soft, bouncing. You got to throw it hard. Yeah.
Suter has pitched in every inning this season. There it is.
We won already?
Yeah.
That's the fastest. Five pitches?
I called that.
That's unbelievable. All right, folks, we got to get the show ready. Brent Suter didn't want us to get any time to get this thing ready, but you know what will? It's this intro. So it's time to do a show. We'll be back in a minute.
Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Bolstered. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McLean's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the line. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Line to the right field. Junior, the first run ever with 4 home runs.
All right, welcome into a lovely edition of Chatterbox Reds. It's a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds, and quite frankly, I thought this was going to be a nail-biter. I assumed that we were going to enter into the ninth inning, come on here, and it was going to be absolute clinch fists, white knuckles, and I got to tell you, that is one of the most refreshing wins that the Reds have had in quite some time. And I know they've had more entertaining wins. I know they've had more exciting wins. But refreshing is maybe a different term. That was a refreshing win. They played the game the right way, Nick. You felt like they were in control most of the game. They, battled through, I guess, some early struggles offensively. And then they obviously kind of poured it on late and made the ninth inning feel like it was a snooze fest. And shout out to Brent Suter for making it every bit of 3 minutes. And Reds win 7-1. That's 5 in a row. And I tell you, doing a show like this makes you start to really question your own sanity, because I thought we were dead, completely dead a week ago, Nick. And for some reason, I'm sitting here watching this game and I'm thinking, you know what? This team can hang around. Don't let them get hot. Don't let them get hot.
I like it. Yeah, I agree with what you said. Very refreshing just to, take care of business, make it an easy finish to the game. Obviously, the bullpen's depleted. I mean, you go into Lyon Richardson in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
So the fact that Scott Barlow had a much more comfortable inning, the fact that you didn't have to use Ashcraft, that's huge for the series too. The fact that you now have Ashcraft, Santillan, and Pagan all with a day off. I think in Ashcraft's case, 2 days off. That's big because, like I said last night, the Pirates, they're not a good team, but you kind of have to beat them a lot of nights ugly because they do have some pretty good pitching. But they don't have a whole lot of offense. So you probably have to win a lot of tight games. So having those guys fresh, that's a big deal for the rest of the series.
It is a big deal. I was even thinking, like, man, it's going to be a tough stretch here if they're not able to. I was even thinking the opposite. I was like, even if they were to lose a game 7-1, right, it actually would maybe even help them in a way to try to get this bullpen freshened up, because it's hard to continue to not ask guys that you trust to pitch in high leverage spots when you're in a critical part of the season where you want some momentum, you want to kind of continue on what you've built upon in the recent success, yet you can't ask guys to throw 4 straight days, 5 straight days, et cetera, et cetera. It was one of those times where scoring 3, 4, 5, 6 extra runs in the 8th inning actually made a difference, even though you could have argued they would have won 2-1 and they didn't need to score those runs. It made a difference. You might not be able to see it in the box score, but hopefully it will be felt tomorrow. All right, we have a box score recap. We have also a Roth bomb, an absolute bomb coming in. Michael Roth from the top row, per usual. Jacob Doyle and RD711. Jacob Doyle says, I bet on the Reds tonight, so here is the Chatterbox cut. Thank you. I didn't know that was a part of the deal, but we will gladly accept the cut from Jacob Doyle. Thank you. RD711, you know what he's going to ask. You damn well know what he's going to ask. You watch this show long enough, you know what RD711 is going to ask. He's going to ask, and this belongs to who? It belongs to the Reds. That's who it belongs to. Roth then says the Lodolo blister just in time for Greene to return. F it. These boys smacked the ball all over the ball field tonight. Oh, is Lyon Richardson actually decent? ATOBTTR with 14 exclamation points. Didn't count them. That was a guess. But if you don't know what that means, and this one belongs to the Reds. So, Nick,
I do have Lyon on the back half of the rundown. Did want to have a brief conversation about him. So,
all right. So Lyon's on the back half. We obviously have Lodolo. Probably the most important thing that happened in this game that we'll get to on the front end of the rundown here. The big runs that obviously ensued. Who we should feel good about in regards to maybe building some confidence off of some of those hits towards the back end of that inning. Back into the last 2 innings, I should say. And from there, we'll obviously do the back half. So without further ado, let's jump into the box score recap presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. First of three in a quick 3-game road trip in Pittsburgh. Nick Lodolo against Mitch Keller. Reds jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the first inning after Elly De La Cruz walked, and then Austin Hayes doubled him home on a very aggressive send home from J.R. House that paid off. Lodolo struck out the first 2 batters of the game, but then Brian Reynolds got a very cheap single off him, and Joey Bart doubled him home that tied the game. But then both pitchers just really settled in from there. We were still tied at 1 going into the 6th, but Austin Hayes singled with 2 outs, got the second on a throwing error, and then Gavin Lux got a very generous double on a ball that our old friend Tommy Pham just straight whiffed on. Reds up 2-1. Nick Lodolo, brilliant the rest of the night. Final line, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Nick Lodolo now with a 3.22 ERA through 10 starts this season. The Reds, with a depleted bullpen, had to go to Lyon Richardson in the 7th, leading just by a run. Lyon put up a big 0, got a huge double play to end that inning, and then the Reds offense got some big insurance runs. First off of David Bednar in the 7th inning. He's the Pirates' sort of closer at the moment. Elly De La Cruz crushed a double to the opposite field to score TJ Friedl, and then Austin Hayes singled home Elly for his 3rd hit of the day to make it 4-1. Scott Barlow pitched a perfect 8th, and then the Reds added some more insurance in the top of the 9th. Will Benson with a hustle double. Tyler Stephenson walked. Benson got over to third base on a pass ball. McClain got him home on a sac fly to make it 5-1. Then TJ Friedl singled home Stephenson with his 3rd hit of the day to make it 6-1. Santiago Espinal walked, and Elly De La Cruz doubled home Friedl to make it 7-1. And then Brent Suter was born for a 9th inning with a 7-1 lead. 5 pitches, mowed the Pirates down to a stadium, a chorus full of boos. Your Cincinnati Reds have won 5 straight games, back above 500 at 25-24. Reds get to 25 wins on May 19th. They didn't do that till May 31st, a season ago.
All right, we got a deep drive of the day. It wasn't over the fence, but it was hit hard right down the line. Elly De La Cruz would double on a line drive to left field. TJ Friedl would score. Elly would wind up getting all the way around to third base, and the winning probability would jump 14%, giving the Reds a 90% chance. But as we all know, it would wind up being 100%. 105 off the bat, though, if you're keeping count of that. Personally, I don't, but maybe you do. DSC, though, we're all keeping track of them. They are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you to our good friends at DSC. All right, jumping into what is a great show, because really we can get past all of the the days that led up to Sunday night, where we kind of had to recap multiple days worth. We could just focus on tonight, and I felt like the first topic is poetic. It's perfect to discuss. I think it was the reason that the Reds found themselves in a position all game where you felt like they were the team that was more probable to win. Lodolo battled. Do I think Lodolo had like his best stuff tonight? Maybe not, but I do think that I do think that when you play that good of defense behind somebody, Nick, it gives you more and more confidence to throw the ball over the plate. Let the guys hit it, put it in play, and then we'll figure it out. That's really, sadly, not been the case with this franchise for a considerable amount of time. I will openly admit I don't love Espinal in the 2-hole, but I have always fought for the fact that Espinal plays good defense in the field, and it's a trickle-down effect, right? Like, it's just like whenever you're able to kind of like add great defenders, even though per se maybe there's a weak link in the field, I just feel as if all it takes is one great play from one guy, and it can kind of be what's the right word to use here? It could be contagious. The same way that hitting is contagious, I feel like defense is contagious. And it seems like that's the positive thing. You're obviously scoreboard watching.
Chicago Cubs just got walked off by the Miami Marlins. They were up 7-6 in the bottom of the ninth, but they lose 8-7.
Tough. I mean, I really hate to hear that.
Jesus Sanchez a double to win the ball game.
Well, that's nice. That is very, very nice. We have a couple supers. Houston Berger coming in with the super chat right on time, saying the Marlins walk off the Cubs, baby, with an emoji with a guy with the sunglasses.
3.5 back.
You think that those shades are for the Miami Marlins? Is that what the shades are for on the emoji? And Bill Furman and Kobe super chatted us. Didn't say anything, but we very much appreciate them too. I don't know how much you want to add with Lodolo and the defense as a whole, but that was the story of the night until obviously the offense got hot.
Yeah, Lodolo, this was a taking care of business start for me. The Pirates are a terrible offense. I mean, they're as bad as the White Sox. They might be worse, and like they actually have guys that are kind of have been through the big leagues a little bit. That lineup is atrocious. I was doing some notes on them last night. Man, it is just. It is ugly. And that whole situation at PNC Park, I mean, they're in a whole different class than we thought Reds fans were mad at their team. That's a whole nother level. But Lodolo, look, he took care of business. Only walked one batter. He is doing a great job this year at limiting walks. He's always been, good in limiting walks, but he's only walking now 1.53 batters per 9 innings. That's down from 2.89 last season. So, I mean, yeah, his strikeouts have been down, but he's also not walking anyone. So that's a pretty good recipe. So he didn't, he didn't allow – when you're playing a team like the Pirates, the last thing you want to do is give them opportunities to beat you. And he didn't give them any opportunities. The defense helped him out a lot. Lodolo's been good. He hasn't been great, but he's been – I mean, I don't know, 3.22 ERA and 10 starts is actually pretty good.
Right.
He's just – it's kind of a weird way he's got to it. Like, he's been really great at times. Yeah. He's been in at times. But overall, I think we all would have taken this through 10 starts. I would just taken him being healthy more than anything.
Yeah, I think health is probably the biggest concern with Lodolo, and I would also say that's probably the case with Andrew Abbott, if we're being honest. It is nice to hear that Hunter Greene's going to make a return here, as that might be on the back half, so I don't want to expand upon that. But Hunter Greene will be coming up right around the corner. And I was going to tell you, I think that Lodolo probably from time to time, you don't appreciate some of the starts that he has because he does come off the heels of a guy like Hunter Greene. You watch Hunter Greene pitch and you're like, man, this guy's just absolutely dominating. Blowing fastballs right by guys. Lodolo is really not that, he's really not that type of a pitcher anymore, where he's just shoving it right down guys' throat. Now, to be fair, he's capable of doing that. So I don't want to make it sound like he's some contact pitcher that's never going to have an outing where it looks like he's unhittable. But the bigger story was I thought if we're being honest, Nick, the Reds caught a little bit of a break. If I can give the analytic department some credit tonight, I felt like they were positioned a couple times very, very well. And I'd also say there was a double play ball that was hit right directly at Matt McLean where he was shifted over a little bit. And they turned a double play where it could have been first and third with one out. Instead, you have a double play that kind of gets you out of the inning. So, just little stuff that I don't know if we appreciate because it just, when you watch the game, you're like, oh, it was a double play. That guy hit the ball really hard. I don't have the number right off the top of my head right now, but I'd say it was probably one of the harder balls hit from the Pirates all game long. And, you get a double play out of it. You get 2 outs. So I just felt like the Reds were fortunate. And then when they added on the runs, which we'll jump into that now, when they added on the runs, Nick, it felt like it kind of washed away all of the talking points that I had for the game as a whole, which was taking the extra base, finding a way to get a guy in from third base or get a big hit with 2 outs. That's a big deal, right? I give Austin Hayes a ton of credit. This team has not done that a lot. They've not found a way to get a big hit with 2 outs and take a lead. And Hayes was able to do that, and it kind of felt like that was the momentum the Reds needed to break through, and they poured it on what was in the 8th and 9th inning. So any thoughts to kind of run through those 2 topics?
106 off the bat on that double play that you were talking about. That's Spencer Horwitz, just activated off the IL. The Pirates, he was their big offseason acquisition. They were really hoping he could be a big part of their offense. He's a talented player that could at some point help them out. But yeah, that was a big situation for sure.
So your thoughts on the insurance runs? I guess I don't know how much you want to add to it. It's it's kind of obvious when you look at it how important it was. But anything that you take away from, I guess, the runs in the 8th and 9th?
Made the Pirates pay for mistakes. I mean, the Pirates, didn't play a great defensive game outside of Brian Hayes. He's incredible at third base. He's about as good as it gets. Other than him, Tommy Pham. I wonder how much longer that's going to go on before they DFA him. But yeah, I mean, they made him pay. I mean, Ellie had some really, really hard hit balls today. I think he had two balls, 105 and 110. So that's just great to see. I continue to just give him a little bit more time. Let him get into June, because I fully believe he's going to just go on an absolute tear here at some point. And it's really, for the Reds, I think you just got to kind of stay afloat, because it's coming. I believe it's coming. I'll die with that ship that Ellie De La Cruz is going to have a 1,000 OPS month this year. It's going to happen at some point. Yeah, and I think June is what if I had to bet, I think that's when it'll happen.
I love how because when you do a show like this, I fumble over things all the time. I love the die on this ship comment, by the way. That's either you're going to go down with this ship or you're going to die on this hill. But you just said you're going to die on this ship. So the hell with it. I think that's a fantastic way to kind of
die on the ship.
Nick's just going to die on this ship.
Doubling down.
Yeah, you had them both. You just mixed them together, and you just went with your own thing, and I'm all for it. Rolf then chimes in and says, was catching up on episodes. Trey said no wall comments. Yeah, no wall comments. We all know that. 20 for 2026 Mother's Day. Fix the basement wall for Kirby Fowler Fund. Rolf's on a heater tonight, by the way. He is on an absolute heater. Rags to ruin story says, not to ruin the mood. Should I read the rest of this? Come on, Rags. Not to ruin the mood. But did it look like Lodolo was messing with his hand coming off in the 6th? I'm always worried about blisters with this guy. I don't know. I didn't catch that. I'll be honest. I didn't catch that. So if that's the case, so be it. Oh, there's one thing. Everyone wants to talk about toxic Trace. I'll tell you, I would have been real toxic tonight. There was one thing that really pissed me off. Ellie, when he scored from first on, what was it, the double? It was the double down the line by Hayes, right? Or wherever it was. It was
the first inning?
Yeah. Ellie's diving into the plate, okay? The baseball bat is sitting right in front of home plate for what was at least 45 seconds to a minute. I guess the catcher isn't responsible for moving it. But if you're the umpire, the home plate umpire, it would be nice if you move the bat, okay? Have some feel. Because if Ellie would have gotten hurt trying to slide into that baseball bat tonight, I would have been ready for war. And that's the stupid small stuff my brain sees, and it just infuriates me. I don't know who also was on deck. I don't know if they're allowed to run up to the plate and grab the bat anymore. But they also should be on the hook for this, because if Ellie has to slide into home plate again with a full-flown baseball bat sitting right underneath his chest when he dives, we're going to have some problems. And that goes for the rest of the players too, not just Ellie. But I did see that tonight. Keep an eye on it next time that they slide into home. Check where the baseball bat's at. Yeah, just something stupid I seen. All right. Where are we going here? This show is it's a weird one, because it felt like a really, really close game that was super intense, and then it just turned into what was a rout, Dick.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to come on here and remind everyone Mitch Keller's a pretty good pitcher, and then it doesn't really matter, because the Reds pounded
she was
their bullpen. So
yeah, he was a good pitcher.
But Bednar was pitching really well. I know he really struggled early in the year. Got sent down to AAA. He had been really good since he came back. So that was a really, really good inning against him. I know Holderman has been really struggling for them in the 8th, but that 8th inning against Bednar, that was just a huge inning. He was pitching well. you were kind of up against it. It just could have been we could be doing a whole different show.
Yeah.
My new favorite thing to say, if that top of the eighth doesn't work out the way it does.
Well, it also, like, the Reds were fortunate at times. Like, the check swing hit for against Bednar, like, gets the inning started, and then it kind of snowballs from there. It was nice to see Ellie put some good swings on the baseball tonight. I also felt like it was nice just to see kind of the thing that I said this team couldn't do the other night, last night, which was pass the baton down the lineup. I looked up, Nick, where do you think the Reds rank in sacrifice fly efficiency? Where do you think they rank? Where do you think they rank?
26th.
30th. Yeah, 30th. And you know what's great is I decided, sometimes I tell myself, we are not going to be negative tonight. We are not going to be negative tonight. I know we keep getting these guys at third base and we can't get them in, but we're not going to be negative. So I just started doing some research. I thought, is this just my own theory, my own brain that thinks we can never get this guy in, or is it actually true? It turns out we don't hit sacrifice flies at all. And then you know what? Matt McLean hits a sacrifice fly. And I thought, you know what? Damn it. Maybe we've turned the corner. Maybe we're a good baseball team now. I'm not sure if we are, but man, it starts to feel like it. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe it's like I've never smoked cigs, Nick. I've never had to take smoke breaks. But tonight I felt like probably what those folks that are working those fast food chain restaurants feel when they get their 15-minute break and they go out there and they rip that first cig. That's how I was feeling tonight when I seen Matt McLean hit that fly ball. I was like, damn, this is the peak life. I'm on the mountaintop, baby.
Side note, I think we should all get a free year of retirement for not smoking in our lives. But that's a side note. No, one thing that is worth mentioning, I think, is Austin Hayes and Gavin Lux. Now, both guys had a little bit of good fortune tonight. But both of those guys had been scuffling a little bit. I mean, you look at their numbers of the season, it's kind of silly to say because they've been great overall, and you would certainly take their numbers. But good to see both of those guys specifically have good nights tonight because that's just a huge part of this offense. And I don't foresee this team, as it's currently constructed, being able to win with this type of effort on a nightly basis. Maybe later in the year when you get a couple guys back, like if Noelve Marte is rolling, then, maybe, you could see that. But hey, it was nice tonight. Nice to win a game without hitting a home run.
Yes, it was.
But I don't foresee that being the recipe of success very often.
No, can I also add, I'm not trying to make excuses for this, but when you play in larger ballparks, it feels like it's more obvious that you might be able to kind of win a game without hitting a home run. When you play in Great American Ballpark, it's a lot more difficult, right? Like the ball that Pham doesn't catch, he probably catches because he doesn't have to run nearly as far, and or truth be told, the ball goes over the fence, right? Like I'm not trying to just say that because we've sat in here and harped on that point, but I think it's something to keep in mind. When you play 81 games in a small ballpark, you're not going to have the fortune of getting these legged out doubles. Like the ball that Will Benson hit down the line to left field, he gets a double on that because you got to run a long way to get to the ball. You don't have to really do that in Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, there was definitely some hustle doubles, but they did have 7 doubles overall. So that is, some of that was power too.
Right.
It just in that ballpark, a double is sometimes the currency. Like a Great American Ballpark, a home run is the currency.
Right. Exactly. Well said. All right, let's jump into the back half of the rundown. But before we do that, we have to let you know that you can get on the Game Time app. You can download it today. I've said this thousands of times. Don't wait till the last minute when you're thinking of I need tickets. What do I do? Check the websites. Just download the Game Time app. Have it on your phone. It's a convenient app to just kind of scroll through every once in a while, right? I don't know if you're the folks that kind of like my wife who likes just to look at random houses. I'm not moving. We're not moving. I don't know why we look at houses, but I guess we do look at houses. But she scrolls through the houses just because it's fun. You can kind of do that on the Game Time app, just checking out ticket prices around town. Maybe there's a big game that you're looking to possibly go to. You want to see what the prices are? No better way than to download the Game Time app And the cool thing is you can use a code CBOX. That's CBOX. You can get $20 off your first purchase. You can throw that code in there now, and it'll just sit there until you're ready to use it. Terms do apply, of course. But it is the official ticketing partner of Chatterbox Reds, and there's no better way to wait to the last minute to get tickets than the Game Time app. Nick, what time is it?
Game time.
Nice. You're right on cue. 988, text and or call day or night. I got a super chat in just a moment referencing some 988, so we'll get to that in just a second. But as always, it's okay to not be okay. Mantherapy.org as a resource as well. All right, couple supers here before we get into the back half. They're coming in. They're coming in like hotcakes tonight, baby. I mean, they're just flying. Bill Furman with $2. Never seen what he wanted me to say, but I do appreciate it. Bill Furman, shout out to you. Kobe, $2. Appreciate you. Didn't say anything either, but Kobe did chime in, I believe, later with a 10 bomb, and he did have something to say. So, Jeremy Ward says the Cubs lost, all exclamation points. Roth chimes in again. I already got to that one. I don't know how I missed Leitch 1277. I'm sorry. Don't know how to say it. But he says, what letter grade do you give Connor Joe so far? That is a wild super chat. Like, what? Anyway, did we watch the same game? I have no idea.
Maybe just a big Connor Joe.
Yeah, you're just a Connor Joe kind of guy. I'm going to go with a B. I'm going to give him a B.
I'll give him a B+. I think he's been great. I think he's been great. I don't necessarily want him to play, but I think he's done well in his opportunity.
He's hit the ball hard, too. He's had some tough luck outs, to be honest with you. Had some fortunate hits, too, so maybe it all evens out, as they say. I don't know if that's actually true or not. All right, I'm all over the place right now. I mean, Rolf, when you super chat so much, it's really hard to kind of understand where I'm at in the order. There's like 5 different Rolfs on here. Okay, and I go back to look back at the super chats, and there I am. Oh, I've already said that. Rolf then says, P.S. Reed Mouse will be insufferable if and when the Cubs beat the Reds 6 times in 2 weeks. That's not going to happen.
Wow.
That's not going to happen.
Rolf, brother.
Rolf, that's not going to happen. Come on. We all know better than that. Kobe then says, feel good tonight. Might call 988 later just to tell anyone I can that the Reds are back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Not a bad idea. I mean, you can let them know. Andrew Scobie says, am I gonna be negative tonight? Indeed, I will not. Always positive. Go Reds. That's right, Scobie. You're about the feelings. You're like the team mom. A realtor named Hal says, the best show ever. Love y'all. Heard you like checking out houses. Real estate talk in today's show. Yeah, my wife, that's all she does sometimes. Just check out random houses that I don't plan on buying, and I'm hoping that she's not planning on buying, because if she is, that's news to me. Might be somebody else that's paying for it, and it won't be me. I'm just saying. You never know.
Keeping our options open.
Keeping our options open. All right. There was some high leverage spots that came about here early in this baseball game before it was a blowout, Nick, and it was kind of unique. Probably the first few times I'd seen Lyon Richardson got the nod because he was available, and I'll even add in Barlow. And they did fantastic. Got outs. Kind of something that gets overlooked because you go on to win 7-1, Nick. But Lodolo hands the ball off, giving up 1 run. And what happens at the end of the game? You look up at the scoreboard, and 1 run still stands. It's kind of weird, Nick. Like, when we do the offseason thing about the bullpen anymore, I'm always like, in my brain, I'm always like, you know what? They're going to be fine. Like, they're always fine. This bullpen, like, has no-namers all the time, and they're going to end up being just fine. Not every team in Major League Baseball feels that way, I'm guessing, because clearly there's somebody that's got a terrible bullpen, because throughout the rankings, somebody has to be last. But it just seems like we have caught good fortune, Nick, with the bullpen and guys that have continued to step up for this team that before the season started, I'm not sure how many people would believe in any of them, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, Lyon Richardson, he's having a really just a solid year. And you know what? Maybe Tito deserves a little credit for the way that he handled that. The Reds were short, elected to keep him on the roster instead of, shuffling him back and forth. And maybe instilled a little bit of confidence in him. But Lyon's throwing strikes. This guy last year at AAA in 98 innings was walking over 5 batters per 9 innings. This year he's now below 3. I mean, it's a small sample. It's only 12 2/3 innings, but he's throwing strikes, and that's really was his biggest problem because, like, you can see the talent with them. Right. He had an incredible year in 2023, coming back off Tommy John surgery. Started in Daytona, pitched at I think every single level that year. Was just incredible. Like his climb and got to the big leagues, and then didn't perform well at all in the big leagues. But he's had a long journey. This guy was a top prospect, completely fell off the radar after missing 2 seasons. Has come back, and right now he's a valuable contributor in this bullpen. And he's just another guy that normally can give you those multiple innings, which I've said over and over again. And that's just the thing that I love. There's going to be nights you're going to need 2 innings out of Lyon Richardson, maybe 3. Yeah. And I think he can do that. I think he can be stretched out a little bit more as the season goes on. So we'll see. It's still very early in the season for him, but he's been fantastic. It's been a great story. And then great to see Barlow get back on track. He's kind of been a roller coaster with him, but overall he's been fine, especially with what the Reds invested in him. He basically picked him up for very little. But Brent Suter, man,
unbelievable.
I love this guy. I'm just such a fan of him. I love that 9th inning. Like, you can see it coming a mile away. The Pirates are like, yeah, let's just get out of this game. Brent Suter's like, I'm feasting on this.
Yeah. He literally threw like 5 pitches. What was it total? 5 pitches?
5 pitches.
Unbelievable. And when I tell you it was 3 minutes of real time, it was every bit of that and or less. Like it was an incredibly short 9th. All right, where we go from here? I guess we go to the biggest news of probably the day, which is that Hunter Greene is going to return on Friday against the Chicago Cubs, just in time for a big series. Like it or not, it's a big series. I know that you can sit here and say that it's only May, et cetera, but you only get so many opportunities anymore to play these division rivals, if you want to call them that now, Nick. With the new MLB schedule, you don't get to play the Cubs as much as you would have in the past. So anytime you get to play head-to-head and gain some ground, and you know how we like to do the old tiebreaker bit, but you never know when that might end up mattering. It's nice to see Hunter Greene kind of, I guess, really not miss that much time and hopefully make a big-time start this coming Friday.
Yeah, I'm curious if the Reds will make a move to get an extra reliever. I don't know if they either didn't have the news official early enough to where they kind of had to keep Chase Petty on the roster because they need him to be able to maybe start, and you can't sit him down and call it right back up. Or if they're going to just keep Petty and try to have a long man in case they need it over the next 2 days. But given the fact the Reds are off on Thursday, it seems like it would make sense to call back up a reliever. Ian Jabot has looked pretty good, but again, then if you call up Ian Jabot, then he can't be optioned back down. So that would be interesting. Sam Moll could be up for 2 days and called back down. So that's just kind of some things to think about tomorrow, see if they make a move or not. But yeah, I mean, having Hunter Greene back on Friday for this Cubs series is just is huge for this team. I mean, it's a huge series for the Reds. Now they could stub their toe the next 2 days and kind of go into this series kind of a lot further back. But I mean, if you take care of business the next 2 days, and by take care of business I mean maybe just split the next 2 days, right, you're probably going into this series against the Cubs within 3 or 4 games. And I mean, that's a pretty good spot to be in to at least have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, based off of where they were at the end of that White Sox series, or I would even say the heading into the last Sunday game there against the White Sox, it's an absolute, well, that was a Thursday. The more I think about it, not a Sunday, but regardless, you get the point. It's all that you could have asked for. It's a Reds fan. Moving forward here, kind of rounding out the show. It is just a unique situation we're going to find ourselves in here soon when the Reds have to make some decisions, probably when guys are healthy again. I really don't want to get into the weeds of this maybe on this show because I feel like it could spark some discussion and controversy perhaps of what the Reds should and shouldn't do. And on a night like tonight, I really like to keep it kind of uplifting and positive. The Reds are playing good baseball right now. I hope they continue to do so. What they ultimately do with Jake Fraley, what they ultimately decide to do, I guess if you want to say that, Will Benson decides to play against left-handed pitching and or Reese Hines gets opportunities or not. What they do with Tyler Stephenson and Trevino, I don't know either. I know it's easy to sit here and just say, hey, Tyler Stephenson should get more opportunities, etc. I just don't know if I'm there, Nick. And I don't want to say that that's maybe a topic worth of conversation tonight, but it was something I was thinking of throughout this game. It's like, Stephenson clearly has had some injury history here as of late over the past couple of years. And I also feel like he's been a little less than probably we'd expect him to have been at this point in his career based off of what we've seen his rookie season. And I just think to myself that Trevino is playing so great, it's really hard for me to sit here and just say he's a backup catcher. And I know I'm very aware that at some point his numbers probably would have plateaued and they would have started to come back down to earth, some would say. But I just wasn't there yet. And I'm wondering if Trevino now just finds himself playing just maybe once or twice a week. I could be wrong, but I feel like that would be a little bit of a disservice, Nick. Any thoughts on that? Maybe thoughts on Fraley when he's ready to return, and what the Reds. We'll talk about the Reds. What we think the Reds will do tomorrow when we get into who, what, when, where, and why in just a bit after Reds MiLB. But any thoughts on Stephenson here before we jump into the farm?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Trevino has sat as much as he has. I mean, he's only started 2 of the last. I think it's been about Trevino starting every third game. So that's a little bit surprising. I thought it would maybe be closer to 50-50, maybe Stephenson just a little bit above that. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. That's one of the hardest things to judge, to be honest, because I know Stephenson has so much more upside than Trevino offensively. I don't believe in what Trevino's done, that it's going to last all year. You can sue me for it, but I don't believe it. But I do believe in Trevino's defensive value. That gap between what I think they'll be at the end of the year, how much is that worth? It's one of the hardest things in baseball to judge, and I don't think there's really anyone in baseball that can really give you a good answer on that either, because I think there's just so many varying opinions on defense from a catcher, and you'll see some teams, employ Austin Hedges services. See other teams that, kind of do want a little bit more offense out of their catcher. So right. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Stephenson, though, last couple games has, gotten Reds pitched pretty well. So I don't know.
No, I'm not going to say that Stephenson is as a big of a hole as we've had in the outfield and first base and DH at times. I'm not going to do that. And it's still very early with Stephenson. I think I more or less is just trying to defend the opportunity that I thought Trevino earned. And it feels like if he was seeing the ball well and he was playing great, I mean, to be fair, like, you can't sit a guy for too long without that kind of wearing off a little bit. I guess I'm openly just saying I would have liked for them to ride that hand a little bit harder and longer while he was playing so well, and then just played it by ear. Wait until you see the fall off, if you want to call it that, and then start to provide some more opportunities, maybe to Stephenson behind the plate. We'll jump into what we think we're going to do tomorrow. That'll probably spark some more conversation here as we get into it. But in the meantime, let's jump into Reds MiLB. It is Monday, so that makes things a little light. Nick Kirby.
Yeah, I do have some top performers to get to in a second, but we do have action right now. We have the ACL Reds. They're trailing the ACL White Sox 3-0. Got the A++ lineup out there tonight. Cam Collier is making his season debut, so he is returning 0-for-1 so far. Tyson Lewis, Shang-In Lin, Arnaldo Lantigua, and Yakel Soriano all in the lineup. Unfortunately, the lefty Tristan Smith, Reds 5th-round pick last year, did not make it out of the first inning, walked 3 batters. But I'll have a little bit more details on that contest in the podcast in the morning. But we do have some top performers to get to down on the farm. Check in on some guys that are playing very well in the month of May. Sal Stewart has just been kind of the constant all year, hitting 344 in the month of May. Stewart's numbers have been really good. Hasn't really shown a lot of power yet. Be interested to see if he's able to tap into a little bit more of that throughout the year. Sammy Stefora, he's really playing well. 426 on base percentage in the month of May, 2 home runs. I'm anxiously awaiting for him to get the promotion to Dayton, hopefully before they travel up my way. And I'd love to get to see Sammy Stefora in person. E. Smith Pineda, a guy that was on the Reds' top 30 prospect list last year, had a very disappointing season, fell off. Well, he's playing really well right now. He's got 373 on-base percentage in May, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs in the month of May. Arnaldo Lantigua, playing really well so far, and ACL just got started. He's got 364 on base percentage, already 2 home runs. This is his first action in the States. It spent the last 2 years over the Dominican Summer League with the Dodgers. So good to see him kind of transitioning well. And we've already talked a lot about Tyson Lewis, off to an incredible start. The Reds' 2nd-round pick last season. Really exciting there. And then on the pitching front, a couple guys you know, a couple guys you may not. Sam Ben-Schuster, he's probably one of the guys down at AAA that I think a lot of people don't know of that I think you could see this year, which is kind of why I highlighted him. He's pitching really well, 0.90 ERA in the month of May so far. This is a guy that was really on the rise in 2022, pitched in the Arizona Fall League, but kind of fell off the map, and then he's pitching well again this year. Chase Burns, obviously, he's been great. 23 strikeouts and 1 walk in May. That's pretty good. Jose Acuna, he's been great. Just walks too many guys. So if he can harness that a little bit, he could be a really good starting pitcher, I think, for the Reds down the line. Brian Edgington, hadn't really heard a whole lot about him. Undrafted free agent, but he struck out 13 batters last week in a game for Dayton. He's pitching really well. And then Easton Sikorsky, he's been kind of the reliever I've been really tracking. A 0.82 ERA this season with 33 strikeouts and 5 walks in 22 innings. And, of course, your Reds on MiLB back in action on Tuesday. There it is if you're watching on the screen. Louisville, 6:35, Chattanooga, 7:15. Chattanooga, they're fighting for a playoff spot. Remember, they only play the halves. Dayton and then Daytona. Daytona's also kind of in the mix, but those are the 2 teams that could maybe get into the playoffs with the first half division victory.
All right, we got some interesting lineup decisions that are going to be made by Tito here in the very near future, and that very near future is going to be tomorrow. That brings us, obviously, to the next segment of this show, which is the who, what, when, where, and why. Nick, I guess we'll discuss kind of the probables. Nick Martinez, another big opportunity here to keep the momentum going, but more or less it's who the Reds face and what they do with the lineup.
Yeah, Reds are going to face lefties the next 2 days. Bailey Falter tomorrow, a guy the Reds have had some success against, although he's pitching pretty well this season, coming in with a 4.02 ERA. Sorry, I lost the numbers here on him. Coming off a bizarre start where he became the first Pirates starter to issue 5 walks in 17 or fewer batters and still allows 0 runs since 1908. But he's pitching really well other than that bizarre last start. Last 3 starts, a 0.54 ERA. And he's been like the only Pirates starter that's gotten run support this season. So he's pitching well. Reds have hit him pretty well, though, the last couple times out. And then, of course, Nick Martinez for the Reds. He's been great of late. 1.80 ERA and a 1.97 FIP in his last 4 starts. 17 strikeouts and 2 walks in 25 innings. Has not a lot of homer. And Martinez pitched well against the Pirates last year. 1.86 ERA in 9 2/3 innings. 11 strikeouts, 0 walks. So, yeah, I would think Benson will be on the bench tomorrow. We'll see. I mean,
I just
Hines
don't think he
definitely
will.
Better be in there.
I think they're going to play him. I don't believe that that's the right move. I strongly advise against it. I know that I used to be a guy, as I said on yesterday's show, I used to be a guy that would defend, hey, let's play the hot guy. Let's not sit the – but when you have splits that are this detrimental to a guy, I think that you eloquently stated it yesterday about how when you allow somebody to do something against something that they have historically really not done well and then they fail, they're probably going to be in a tougher state of mind than they would have been if you just put them in the right spot from the start. Will Benson last year said, hey, I want to hit left-handed pitching. I want to be an everyday player. And with all due respect to him, I think he kind of hung himself out to dry there a little bit because he's incapable of being consistent against left-handed pitching. And I hope tomorrow that they make the right decision and they play, obviously, Rhys Hines. Whether you platoon Rhys Hines and Will Benson, I don't know. I'm not saying that's the exact formula. I expect probably Connor Joe to be in there, right?
He should. I mean,
yeah, he'll be in there. Espinal will be in there. I'm trying to think of who we're missing here in the lineup. Lux should probably not be in the lineup. Whether or not he will be, I don't know either. But I would like for them to play this intelligently and put their best foot forward with the lineup perspective. And I'd also say, like, Espinal hitting the 2-hole, man. I'm not saying it's a major problem, but it feels like it's going to bite us at some point. And if it hasn't already, in a little bit of a way. But anyway, those are my final thoughts here before we jump into the final part of the show, which is obviously the rituals. Like the stream if you haven't already, please. Please like the stream if you haven't already. We have a significant amount of people that have been in here already. The likes on the show currently, 176. Current viewers, 457. So, please, if you don't mind, like the show. It is free. You just got to hit the little thumbs up button on your phone and or your tablet or on your computer. If you're watching on the television, I don't know. Sorry. Maybe just give a thumbs up to the TV for good moral support. Any final parting thoughts before we jump into the dunk?
Yeah, this is Reds haven't seen any lefties recently. One lefty starter in the last 11 games. That first game against the White Sox series was the only one. So it's really hard to know what their lineup is against lefties. We just haven't seen it. But yeah, I mean, Lux and Benson should absolutely 100% be on the bench. I wouldn't be necessarily against maybe putting Friedel on the bench too, giving him a day off at least one of these 2 days, and then trying to maybe work my lineup to get Trevino catching and Stephenson either DH or first base or something like that. I think you could work that in. So yeah, I think Connor Joe should be in the lineup unless they are trying to get Trevino and Stephenson in the lineup.
Fair enough. People in the chat are asking where CES went. Well, I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, he probably broke his hand. He's probably out until next season.
He's working out at the complex in Arizona. Could soon progress to baseball activities, but no target date is known.
No target date is known.
Last update May 14th.
Yeah. That's like when you tell your kids just a minute.
Yeah, I at this point, CES, just wait until there's an update. Like
that means it might be never.
Yeah.
You know. In a little bit. You ever done that one? In a little bit. When can we do this? When can we do this? We'll do that in a little bit. Yeah. All right. CES will be back in a little bit. So I'm not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath on anybody that goes on the DL or the IL, whatever it is. When the Reds put them on there. I'm not. If they come back, it's great. Hunter Greene's back Friday, though. That's something to get fired up about. And another thing to get fired up about is that the Reds win again. As always, we love you. We support you. We really appreciate your support is what I was trying to say. And I'm going to go and try to be an athlete. My goal yesterday was to make 3 or 4 in a row. We've won 5 games now. Is that right? In a row?
5 in a row.
We've won 5 games in a row. So my goal was to maybe make 5 shots, but that seems like an unrealistic expectation to do in such a short amount of time. But you know what? I'll give it a shot. I guess the next thing is I got to figure out where this basketball is. That's a problem. But we're going to try to figure it out.